Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for having me here. Distinguished panelists, colleagues, friends, and audible vice and counselors. Greetings, and currently on a train to Munich, so you'll have to excuse me if the internet connection is a little patchy. A few months ago, I met a young student from India in Germany who told me something I stayed with. He said, I didn't come to Germany to earn a degree. I actually came here to see how the world functions, how the world actually works. And that sentence, I believe, really captures the spirit of today's theme, promoting internationalization in higher education. So it's a privilege to be here at this centenary moment for the AI movement. And of course, it's a very big honor to represent IU, International University of Applied Sciences. For us, this relationship matters deeply. IU is Germany's largest university with more than 150,000 students, more than 200 accredited courses, a network of over 8,000 corporate partners. We're also Europe's largest tech player, and we own and operate universities in UK and Canada. And of course, we're equally proud to be the first international university recognized by the EU national member. But when we speak about promoting internationalization in higher education, we often begin with humility. And humility matters. And Germany is giving that firsthand. So according to these new reports, we are now the most important country for work for international. The number of Indian students in Germany has risen from around 26,000 in 2020 to 60,000 in 2025. And that's, of course, a remarkable story of trust, aspiration, and academic connection. But further material shows that Germany and India have already opened 505 higher education partnerships and 50 German universities visited India in March 2025 alone. It's a staggering number. But as impressive as these numbers are, internationalization is no longer just about mobility. It's about mindset, capability, collaboration, and the courage to build education systems that are, of course, open enough to learn from one another and also strong enough to serve society at scale. And as I may pose a slightly friendly question to our distinguished gathering, it's excellent that more Indian students are coming to Germany, and we now bring more of Germany to India. Not only Germany as a destination, but Germany as an academic partner. Not only mobility, but mutuality. Not only student outflow, but also shared capacity building. And I ask this question because scale alone does not solve readiness. If we look at the World Economic Forum report in 2025, it says that about 63 in every 100 Indian workers will require training by 2030, and while 12 in every 100 may not be eligible to upskill at all. That amounts to approximately 70 million workers who may miss needed training. Meanwhile, if you look at the India Skills Report of 2026, practice employability at 56.35%. And that's a reminder that access and employability are not exactly the same thing. And I ask this question because India stands at an extraordinary moment, because in order to meet the very ambitious growth enrollment ratio set by NEP 2035 at 60%, India must not just grow, it must grow with urgency. Right? And the challenge is not whether India believes in higher education. The challenge is whether enough high-quality, future-ready higher education avenues can be created at sufficient scale. And that's where applied, flexible, industry-connected international partnerships can be especially valuable. By this, I mean the strength that German higher education is that work integrated learning, strong leadership industry, applied sciences, modular classes, and cultural research that translates generally into strong practice. Of course, those are not exclusively German values per se, right? But there are areas in where partnerships can deliver real value. And that's maybe perhaps where some international universities like ours can maybe contribute meaningfully, not by replacing Indian universities, don't get me wrong, and not by arriving with a superiority complex, but by partnering in ways that really strengthen Indian institutions and widen student opportunity. I see a couple of practical pathways, right? And the first, of course, is to build joint applied programs in high demand fields, such as AI, data science, business analysis, and sustainability. These are industries where demand is strong and complexity is strong, and where students value employability, and where international curriculum design can add a force immediate value. The second is to try and maybe forge Germany in India learning pathways. Internationalization should not begin only at the airport. Right? It can begin on Indian campuses through shared classrooms, common projects, visiting faculty, short residencies, and even step-by-step mobility models that are maybe more affordable and more inclusive. The third is faculty-to-faculty collaboration. And that's one of the most valuable exports in higher education. It's not the brand, it is the know-how. And at IU, our context has maybe first starts to think briefly about personalized learning, flexible delivery, student support, and employer connectivity. And these practices, we would love to share them through curriculum workshops, train-to-trainer programs, pedagogy exchanges, and even work on joint assessment and learner successes. And lastly, which I think is very crucial, is to connect internationalization directly to the labor market. If Germany benefits from Indian talent, then Indo-German higher education should also help build talent pipelines inside India. And that means stronger collaboration with German companies operating in India, with Indian industry, and with employers who want graduates that are globally aware, digitally fluent, and practically prepared from day one. For IU as an institution, this is where I dedicate quite relevant, right? We're a university of applied sciences. We believe education must meet learners where they are and take them to where the future is going. So we believe that our idea creation should not just be a luxury product for a few, and that some of my panelists have rightfully echoed. It should be an engine of access, quality, opportunity for the many. Right? And if India is to reach its ambition of becoming not only a larger but a stronger higher education system, then partnership must help to solve these problems of access, relevance, and international competitiveness. Foreign branch campuses, which I'm very glad to see, have one very important part of the story. But again, the broader opportunity lies in making international education less elite and more embedded in Indian systems. Let me close with maybe just a few thoughts. So in the last 2 years, I think it's very evident that India has shown the world that internationalization in higher education is no longer just about sending students abroad. It's about redesigning systems, opening new pathways, and welcoming new models that allow us to build new confidence. But now the opportunity, I think, is even bigger. Let's not only ask how many Indian students can Germany welcome, let's also ask how much German quality applied learning can we bring to India with Indian universities for Indian students and in the service of India's national aspirations. I'd like to close with just a particular thought. Imagine a student in Pune. He starts her morning in an Indian classroom, works in the afternoon on a live project set by a German company operating in India, joins a meeting discussion with a professor in Europe, and graduates with skills that are globally relevant and locally useful. She hasn't crossed a single border, and yet internationalization has already crossed into her life. That, to me, is the future of higher education, and it's something which we are working very closely on at IU, and if that tends to resonate with you, I would love to take a discussion further forward with you. I sincerely hope you're going to get the chance to work together and not only bring more of India to Germany, but also bring more of Germany to India, of course, and more of the world into both. Thank you.
fast and dynamic and agile systems that we have in the country. Right. I'm reflecting back on what our Vice Chancellor, Professor Mark Smith, mentioned some time back. You can't be truly global if you're not engaging with India. And that's something that drove University of Southampton to look at India from a different lens, from a perspective of the highest rungs on the transnational education ladder. Right? We do talk about, and I think our guests have spoken about, going abroad, possibly whether it's faculty, whether it is, students. In our case, it is, whether it's faculty, whether it's students, or whether it is different practices actually setting base in the country to then be able to impact where we want to be, right? The previous speakers talked about aspiration. The previous speakers talked about a certain reverence to education that we in India have. I think this is an opportunity for foreign campuses to work along with Indian higher education ecosystems to be able to deliver on what we talk about as Viksit Bharat 2047. Now, how do we do it? That's something that's obviously exciting us. How do we do it? We are already 9 months into our academic operations. And there's a lot of different aspects that we have worked on. Now, whether that be around the programs that we offer in the country, from what we offered in 25-26, we started with 6 programs. For 26-27, we've now moved to 10 programs, both in the undergrad and the postgrad levels. Now, with this, what I would call as, in a sense, a reverse format of internationalization, what does a branch campus, or what does University of Southampton, Delhi in this case, provide? Internationalization at home, right? The ability to be able to ensure that we're a nation of 1.4 billion people with 1.4 billion stories to tell. I think we have to look at it from that perspective as well. It's not just about this whole idea of a transition of a curriculum, into the country. It is also about this whole idea that we've had so many success stories. We've had many success stories in the last many years. Very recent examples I can give you are around the UPI, or unified payment systems, or around the COVID vaccine, or anything else, right? What does that tell you? That tells you that when universities, whether they are international, whether they're Indian, have the opportunity to collaborate with each other, a lot of different stories, a lot of different innovation practices, a lot of different ways to be able to create impact comes around, right? And that's one of the big reasons why University of Southampton, Delhi is looking at many areas to not only engage with itself and with respect to whether centers of excellence. If I look at University of Southampton as a whole, there's a lot of excellence areas. Now, whether that be on the internet technologies, whether that be in fiber optics, whether that be in economics, whether that be in oceanographic studies, these are all areas where Southampton has been able to make its mark in the last many years. And it is important as a triple helix university. So we call ourselves a triple helix university, which means it's not just about teaching, it is about research. And it's also not just about research, it is about what does the research do, right? It's about the research impact, it is about the enterprise that becomes very, very important. So the same model of teaching, research, and its impact is something that we are creating in India. The centers of excellence that we're looking at, the kind of faculties who are being engaged, the kind of approaches to learning, whether it is the kind of curriculum, whether it is the nature of the pedagogies, whether it is the multidimensional nature of how learning happens, whether it's the depth, whether it's the analytical approach within the classroom. A lot of these things we believe are opportunities for students, are opportunities for us to be able to create the kind of impact that we seek. Now, with respect to why we are here, it is not just about being an international branch campus. It is not just being higher up in the transnational education corridor. University of Southampton, through its India Center, has been engaging a lot with institutions in the country. That's the true objective. I would imagine the kind of objectives that the nation has for itself will be around the kind of co-creation, will be around the kind of collaboration that Indian universities can achieve with international universities together. And that's one of our primary objectives as well. with respect to, we have the Director of Research and Knowledge Enterprise in the country, who is looking at these opportunities, not just by ourselves, not just looking at emulating or representing or creating centers of excellence here in the country, but it is also about working with like-minded institutions here to be able to meet certain goals or what I actually define as impact. Okay. Once again, I come back to the same point. I come back to this whole point around why are we focusing on interconnected global learning? Why are we focusing on intercultural competence? Right? I come back to the earlier point of aspiration. I come back to the earlier point about reverence for education, right? And I come back to the earlier point, the one more point that I made earlier is about this whole idea that a lot of Indian stories need to be told. That's the true form of transnational education. It's not just about a certain form of curriculum, a certain form of thought process. It is also about how intermixing actually takes place to be able to contribute to courses, to be able to contribute to students' development, to be able to contribute to faculty development, and in the process, achieve the goals that we talk about for 2047. I'm happy to take any further questions as we progress. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your second responsibility. Ask questions from the last speaker, and then we'll have some questions from the audience.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, all my fellow panelists. Coming last in the session is always helpful because I can always say I concur with everybody who said whatever they had to say, because most of my points are already covered. I actually just wanted to touch base on what we do as a United States India Educational Foundation. I work with the United States India Educational Foundation, which is USIEF, which is the Fulbright Commission in India. I'm based out of New Delhi, but we also have offices in Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. For over 80 years, the Fulbright program has served as a powerful bridge between India and the United States, and indeed across the world. We actually completed our 75th anniversary last year, and Fulbright is completing its 80th anniversary this year. Established in 1946, Fulbright today operates out of 160 countries. It is actually a strong example of how government-supported initiatives can create lasting global public good by investing in people, ideas, and partnerships. I actually know in the audience we have at least 2 Fulbrighters there, and Dr. Pankaj Mittal is another of our Fulbrighter. So we are an esteemed company, and therefore I encourage people to apply for the Fulbright program. The call is currently open. Each year, Fulbright supports over 100 Indians to go to the US, a similar number of Americans coming to India. To date, we have supported over 22,000 fellowships in India alone. But what makes Fulbright truly impactful is that it goes beyond exchange. It builds relationships. It is helpful for students who are becoming global citizens. It's for scholars who are co-creating knowledge, and for professionals who are building newer partnerships. And this is what we call people-to-people diplomacy. We have been hearing a lot about how student exchanges, how scholar exchanges do actually make a difference. I actually wanted to touch base on 2 stories that I had, the human stories, taking a cue from Dr. Talwar in terms of the stories that we need to tell. A US Fulbrighter, Christine Wolf, visited India last year under the Fulbright Nehru International Education Administrators Program. It is a 2-week program where American education administrators come to India and they visit Indian institutions. It became a catalyst for her long-term collaboration. After returning to the US, she has already facilitated an internship for one of her students with an Indian organization she had connected with during her visit. She also has introduced her faculty and colleagues to potential Indian partners, creating avenues for future academic collaborations. And this is how usually institutional partnerships begin, through individual exchange experiences that grow into engagements. In another example, an Indian Fulbrighter, Harshit Sosan from IIT Roorkee, during her postdoctoral work in the United States, worked on restoring an urban fish pond, an effort that connected ecological resilience with food sovereignty. What stood out from her journey, as she says, is how deeply she was engaged with indigenous communities, learning from their experiences on land, heritage, and sustainability. And from that, her experiences has shaped the way she thinks, not just as a researcher, but as a practitioner. Today, she is taking these learnings and moving forward, including developing a course for the National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning for students in India to engage in these ideas. These are just two stories out of the 22,000 stories that we would have in terms of how exchanges actually make a difference to people who are a part of it. We do understand that government programs are limited, funding is limited, and therefore internationalization cannot just be on mobility. A lot of conversations that we have had with HEIs who are coming to India to look for partnerships, they are actually saying that they will be very eager to support on technology supported collaborations. These approaches will make internationalization more inclusive, more easier to work, and not with the constraints of funding and sort of visa control and aspects like that. At the same time, many US institutions are also keen to develop student exchanges, which are led by a faculty who has visited India. So if you are looking at working with US institutions in some capacity, I'll strongly encourage to start small. Getting into an MOU is not the best way of doing things. And it actually sometimes pushes a lot of institutions to not work with you because they think it is a more formal setup. Faculty to faculty conversation, getting students to work on a joint research project, joint classroom projects will actually help you get internationalization at a basic level in the system. And that's where the conversations will start. And therefore, what I'm trying to say is, internationalization does not have to follow the traditional pathways. It can be innovative, flexible, and sort of more organic and technology driven, definitely. And I think that's it, because I think most of the other points I have covered. I don't want to keep you holding on to this, but just a strong last plea: the call for applications for Fulbright is currently open for Indian to go to the US. We have opportunities for faculty, for postdoctoral students, for doctoral students to go to the US. And the focus for this year is only STEM, which is based on the India-US priorities as agreed by the both countries. If you require any further information, I'll be very happy to help you. And thank you so much for bringing me together here. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a nice elaboration. Let us go straight to the audience. And you want to ask questions, and from whom you want to ask questions. That will be much better. Between the volunteers, please.
Thank
The
you.
questions should be brief and
Yes, sir.
pointed.
Yeah. This question is for all the foreign university representatives who are here. How about the faculty members? Are they permanent or are they on the hourly basis salary? I am also a Fulbright alumni. It is open now. I am aware about it. I am a Vice Chancellor of Haveri University in Karnataka State. Thank you. Faculty members, are they permanent or they are paid on a hourly basis?
So maybe because we have academic operations in the country, I think our faculty are full-time faculty. We call them, full-time equivalent FTE faculty in the country. In fact, currently we are, for this academic year, we're actually doubling the base of faculty as we go forward as well. So to answer your question, full-time equivalent faculty, yes, FTE. No, the permanent faculty, full-time faculty. The way we describe it in the Indian context, yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sirs. This is Satyanarayan Reddy from Saigal University. It's for everyone. My simple request to honorable members of the dais, and especially Vinay sir and Pankaj Mittal, the thing is, why don't we create one platform where each university registers stating that what are the research they are doing, I mean to say wonderful research they are doing, and rather than running after the universities in foreign countries, let us create that common platform. If some foreign university is interested in that particular research, let them get connected through AIU. That will be wonderful. Rather than I mean to say getting connected with people, and it remains in MOU level only. It doesn't go any further. So common research interest, things should be connected. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to inform you that AIU has established a network called Indian Network for Internationalization of Higher Education. Although the name is international, but in that we are encouraging our universities to talk about their facilities, their researches, so that whether it is a national university or an international university, they can look at it and then they can see if they want to partner with this university. So that is already there. My university become a member of INIHG, and you have an opportunity to post there that what you are best at.
I have one question. I am the Vice Chancellor of Professor Ramli Krishna University. Regarding around more than 1,200 universities are there. Some are 100 years old, 50 years old, 75 years old. If you see the globalization or internationalization of higher education, only few institutes are coming in that particular arena, either universities or institutions. If possible, because of regulations. If possible, can we increase that by discussing with the government to redesign the regulations? Only few institutions are coming out of 1,200 universities that may submit to AIU.
Two replies to this. One, the NITI Aayog, and we were an academic partner in that AIU, we have done a report on internationalization of higher education, where a lot of recommendations have been made to the government of India to ease of doing internationalization. So in that, this is one of the points. And then second, NITI Aayog is again taking up an issue regarding deregulation, means having access to quality education or democratization of internationalization, I should say. So democratization of internationalization is something which is on the agenda, not only through AIU, but also with our tie-ups with the NITI Aayog. And the senior specialist in NITI Aayog, Dr. Shashank Shah, he is here. Are you here, Shashank? He is here somewhere, and you can be talking to him also in the process.
Hello. Good afternoon, ma'am. Thanks for the wonderful session. Myself, Dr. Nitin Rathi, Vice Chancellor of Antika University, Ujjain, Madhya Pradesh. My question to Ms. Megha Sangal, ma'am. Ma'am, thanks for opening the application for faculty and students. But somehow we are missing the applications of administrative seminar, which was earlier been there. So any chance of opening these applications for administrative seminar? It is for the administrative people.
So the call is not open yet. Right now, the call is only for the research and sort of specifically on research applications. The administrator seminar call will be open late. So it is in the pipeline, but it's not been announced so far. It will come. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Here is Dr. M.L. Gaur. I am Vice Chancellor from Northeast part of the India, Kaziranga University. My question is a food for thought. Internalization, is it a amplification of the some privileged institutions, or is it possible to get connect with the 2-tier, 3-tier or lower universities which are located at remote locations? Because pure wisdom falls in villages and lower institutions. So is there any plan to connect this concept with the lower institutions which are not privileged institutions?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. So I will speak on behalf of the DAAD. When German institutions reach out to us and they ask the question, who should we collaborate with? This is a tricky question looking at the vast academic, landscape in India. And our response is usually, please don't look at the big cities. Please look at like you said, like you stated, more the rural areas, because there is also excellent institutions. There is a lot of research going on, a lot of potential. And basically, the institutions in the big cities such as Delhi or Mumbai, they do already have maybe 100 to 200 corporations, and yes, that is already costing them a lot of efforts, right? So this is our usual recommendation: is please look beyond the big cities and try to establish a cooperation there. And we do have a lot of institutionalized cooperations also beyond the big cities. Yes.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. Professor S.P. Singh of Australia, Skill University. My question was specific to Professor Kunal. Is online if possible? I think Kunal, are you available here? Online? Okay, so this question is maybe to the other counterparts of people in Germany. On skill university setup, what kind of, because research, innovation, everything is very well taken. But skilling is one of the priority sectors for India as of now, and for the world also. And Germany is very keenly looking towards India for the skill manpower. So what kind of affiliations are possible?
So from my understanding, I believe that question is directed at me. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture the essence of the question due to poor connectivity.
You have a lot of young people here, and in Europe it's shifting, right? So there is more and more elderly people. So basically, European countries are in lack of labor in all the fields, and then there is certain areas where it's become very pressing. So that is in the field of nursing, for example, or also hospitality. I traveled 2 years ago to Vienna, and then I saw a sign on the cafe stating, "Sorry, we're closed because we don't have labor." So cafes rather close and don't work for 3 days of the week or 4 days because they can't find people, right? So we have that. That is something very pressing, right? But then at the same time, looking at the academic field, right? Looking at research, of course, what is very important for all of us, what we are facing right now, a phase of phase of transition, right? That's of course the use of AI. How do we introduce AI? And I know there is already the NITI Aayog and other institutions working on that, right? We need policy making actually to see how we implement that into the institutions. And then I was recently told that for India there is the IIT Madras actually designing courses on the topic of AI that are going to be implemented at institutions in India. And the same, of course, is highly relevant also to German institutions. Because when we look at this field, all of us, so it's India, it's Europe, those who are present here, we face highly big risks. If you look where the servers are based of AI, if you look where certain technology is being built, certain countries do have the monopoly, and at the moment there is maybe the access to the AI. It's maybe free of charge, but that could change really fast, right? And then so there is certain risks. So this is also a field where we need to work together, where we need to find joint solutions and put our efforts, not to miss that opportunity. I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for this nice session. One more, sir. Last question. Okay, please. I have the Provost of American University, Chennai, and the 100th President of AAU as well. Friends, we have listened to you very carefully. Going for internationalization of higher education, it's not an option, it's a compulsion on our part. I'm telling from the perspective of NAC accreditation, all the vice chancellors who are assembled here, especially category 2 or category 3, etc., etc. We have challenges to get the marks in various areas, especially in research, for which, if at all you are able to answer and help us, certainly there is a possibility of having some faith on all these programs, all your addresses as well. Number one, if we are able to have
faculty exchange and student exchange with any one of the foreign universities of any countries, Germany or UK or USA, there is a mark in the NAC. Again, if you are able to get international research funding, there is a mark. Again, if there is an international fellowship for the teacher, there is a mark. Now, in general, going for relational education, it is fine. But we are badly need of support in this area, what I have quoted, which will help us to go for getting a good ranking in NAC. Do you have any such programs? Basically, you may come to the question, for all these things, university can spend money from university fund. I am not telling about category 1 university, they have sufficient fund, they have sufficient sources. There are state universities, they find difficult even to disperse a salary in every month. Fund constraint is there. Even there are private and universities, they find it very difficult to spend for all these things. General address is fine, general provision is fine. If you have any answer, if you are able to extend such support, that is well and good for all the Vice Chancellors assembled here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. If anybody wants to respond, this is a very, very fundamental questions. At least for that. So, sir,
yeah.
Dr. Colin,
I am Dr. Geeta Lakshmi, Chancellor of India University, Chennai. I have a question that which can be solved by the AIU also, because some of the modules given by the foreign universities doesn't fit into the curriculum and the syllabus of the Apex Council, which has defined us. So that we have to put into the credit system, which has to be maintained by the AICT or the UGC or whatever council. It has to be made compulsory. Then the internalization will be into effect. That's what. And regarding research, I think so. If we go through the research gate, we can find out who is interested in the research. I think so. This can be made useful. I think many of the vice chancellors have to go into this research gate portal. Thank you.
Very good suggestion. I think Professor Colin wants to respond to the first question, which was a very, very fundamental question, a very pertinent question.
Well, I'd certainly agree with the burden, with the import of what you were saying there, Vice Chancellor. And half of what we do at the ACU is international exchange. It's scholarships, it's student exchange. And I heard loud and clear at our Congress in Nairobi last autumn that there is a real need for student exchange on a much bigger scale. And that is something that we're looking at. And as it happens with the second question, so is accreditation. So to make it easier to swap credits when students go through those processes. So I would like to offer some hope. Finance is always a problem. We've recently had some considerable success with philanthropy in another scheme. So that's another potential avenue for us to go down.
Thank you very much to all the panelists, and this is a very, very auspicious occasion when we want one of our friend Professor Ashok Kumar's books to be released on the in this auditorium. May I request Professor Ashok Kumar? His book is Life Skill to Teach the Top, and he is a Vice Chancellor of Haryana Sports University. This is a great occasion when we are going to launch. I request all the panelists to launch his book. And then we will request Professor Pankaj to say vote of thanks and summarize this section.
I would also like to request Honorable Vice Chancellor of Dr. D.Y. Patil Vidyapeeth, Dr. N.J. Pawasa, to please come on the stage. This is a book release of the book Life Skills to Reach the Top, which has been authored by Mr. Ashok Kumar, a retired IPS officer and former DGP of Uttarakhand, along with Mr. O.P. Manocha, former DRDO scientist, combining practical wisdom and scientific insight. The book serves as a concise guide to success, emphasizing career choice, discipline, resilience, and essential life skills through practical frameworks like SWOT, Ikigai, and SMART goals.
Thank you, sir. I'll just take 5 minutes of your lunch time. I know it is lunch time, so I request only 5 minutes of your kind attention. Respected Sri Vinay Kumar Pathak, sir, Chairman AIU, Madam, respected Madam Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General AIU, esteemed AIU officials, distinguished academicians, Vice Chancellors, administrators, and all dignitaries present here. It is indeed a privilege to be here at this gathering, this August gathering of all Vice Chancellors. This platform represents the finest intellectual leadership of our country. I am really grateful to Pathak sir and Pankaj Mittal ma'am for giving me this opportunity to release the book at such an August gathering. This book has been published by S. Chand Publishers and it has been forwarded by Jackie Shroff. Why Jackie Shroff? Because he rose from the slums and reached such heights. Also, Kiran Bedi ma'am has also given her feedback on the book, who also represents life skills. Why I wrote this book? Because, you know, I passed from IIT Delhi, and after passing out from IIT Delhi, I felt that we had all the intelligence, we were all well qualified, but we lacked in life skills. When I entered the real life, when I entered the job, then I realized that we lacked the life skills. In early years of life, IQ is sufficient. IQ is very good for your early stages of life, but for your marks, for your exams, for your memory, for academics. But for higher echelons of life, if you want success in the higher stages of life, you need EQ, you need resilience, you need life skills. So that is what this book is about. The book is a result of scientific research and practical life experiences. The book talks about emotional intelligence, resilience, time management, stress management, communication skills, goal setting, decision making, team building, conflict management, critical thinking, etc., etc. And I have, dealt with it scientifically as well as from my life experiences. For example, stress management. We know when the stress increases, initially the performance increases. Sometimes we think stress is always negative. No. When stress increases, performance increases. But after a time, it starts falling down. It follows a normal curve. And a time comes when you break down, physically as well as mentally. So all these skills I have dealt scientifically also and practically also. In policing, I have seen highly intelligent individuals fail, not because they lack knowledge, but because they lacked emotional control, decision-making ability, and resilience. I'll just give you one simple example of, let's say, decision-making of a lathi charge or a firing. We might think it's a very small deal. It is not. It involves 100 things. And we have to take decisions so fast. We have to calculate what will be the impact of firing or lathi charge on various parties, on media, on public, various vote, etc., everything. So decision-making involves so many things. Today, universities are producing graduates, but the question is, are we producing professionals ready for life? I strongly believe that life skills must be integrated into the curriculum of every university. I've seen universities having life skill department. In Dehradun, we have petroleum industry, they have life skills department. So time has come that life skills should become part of curriculum. Students should be trained in emotional intelligence and all the life skills. If we truly want employability, if we truly want leadership, if we truly want nation building, then life skills education is not optional, it is essential. Your degree may give you an opportunity, but your life skills will determine how far you go. So I would request the academic leaders present here today, you have the strength to shape the future of this country. By integrating life skills into education, you will not just create graduates, you will create leaders. If we prepare our youth with life skills, we are not just building careers, we are building a stronger, more capable India, which will be Viksit Bharat, which will be world leader. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much. And I think this is the lunch time. And it's time to.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, we are closing the session with the felicitations. Once again, I would like to invite Dr. N.J. Pawar, sir, on stage, please, to felicitate all our panelists. Well, to conclude this session, we can say that it is evident that the future of higher education lies in strong global partnership, mutual learning, and shared innovation. Thank you all for your gracious presence and the participation in the session. Yes, I would request Dr. N.J. Pawar, sir, to kindly felicitate Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak, sir, who chaired this session. This is especially for this session, sir. Next, I will request you, sir, to kindly felicitate Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, co-chair of this session. After this, I would request Professor Vinay Kumarji and Dr. Pankaj Mittal ma'am to do the next felicitations of all the distinguished speakers. First, Professor Colin Riordan. Yes, all the speakers. Okay. Professor Colin. Yeah, this one is Achyut Wagle, sir. Professor Achyut Wagle, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, next is Professor Colin Riordan. Kunal Saigal was with us. I think he's still with us, but he's joined us online. Next is Mr. Arthur Rapp. Yes, next is Mr. Arthur. Request you, sir, to please felicitate him. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Dr. Vishal Talwar, sir. And lastly, we have Miss Megha Sangar, madam. But before we finish all the felicitation, all are requested to please remain on the stage. We want to catch this moment in a beautiful photograph, especially with that traditional cap that Professor Wagle has given to everyone. Megha is being felicitated now. Yes, yes, group photographs. We'll have a group photograph now. Thank you. Thank you. That was a wonderful session. Thank you. Just few instructions before you leave. For all the vice chancellors, as I said earlier, the lunch arrangements have been done on the terrace. You can use